It is late in the evening at Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport. A 31-year-old security screener sits at her post, watching bags roll through the X-ray machine. The same thing she has done for years. Guns, gold, ivory, drugs, cash. Her job is to catch them all. And then 5 bags roll into the X-ray machine. She leans in. She knows exactly what she is looking at. American dollars. More money than she will earn in 100 lifetimes. In the next 30 seconds, she will make a decision that will make her a millionaire before midnight and a prisoner before Christmas. She lets 4 bags go through and she takes one of the bags. Inside that bag, $2 million US. And here's the part that makes this one of the most incredible crime stories to ever come out of Zimbabwe. The person she stole it from could never report it because the money itself was already a crime. By the end of this video, you understand how a junior airport security officer earning a government salary pulled off what detectives themselves called the perfect heist. Now, how she spent $1.4 million in 90 days. She gave $400,000 US of stolen money to her pastor. After outsmarting smugglers, the airport, the police, the entire banking system of Zimbabwe, she was only destroyed by the one person she never saw coming. This is the story of Rosalind Dunga, the Zimbabwean millionaire for 90 days. And near the end of this documentary, I'm going to show you the one question in this case that has never been answered up to now. To understand the crime, you must first understand the crime scene. Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport, Harare, Zimbabwe. This is one of the most secure buildings in the entire country. Soldiers, police, central intelligence officers, immigration. Before we go any further, you need to understand one law before anything else. In Zimbabwe, a traveler is only allowed to leave the country with $2,000 US in cash. That's it, 2,000. Anything more without Reserve Bank authorization is a crime, money laundering or smuggling. So ask yourself this, whose money was that? What happens if it goes missing? Remember that question. It is the engine of this entire story. She wasn't a criminal mastermind. She was the employee of the month material. She worked for the Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe as a security screener. October 2021, the last departure on Rosalind's schedule. An Emirates flight to Dubai. The bags start rolling. 5 suitcases enter the tunnel. Now, this is the moment she realized what was happening and saw an opportunity and took it. A law enforcement source described what she did in one devastating sentence. She decided she would let 4 of the bags go through. She lifted one of the bags from the belt and put it on the side. 4 bags flew to Dubai that night. 1 did not. And at the end of her shift, Rosalind Dunga picked up the suitcase and walked out of one of the most heavily guarded buildings in Zimbabwe. Past police, past soldiers, past intelligent officers. Nobody stopped her. To this day, court papers do not explain how she got that bag out of a high security zone. She took a combi ride home with $2 million. The bag is locked. She breaks it open at home. When it was finally counted, $2 million United States dollars. Try to imagine that moment. A woman from a poor background staring at more physical cash than most Zimbabwean banks held in their vaults during the currency crisis back in 2008. Enough to buy an entire street of houses. She would later tell police that the bag belonged to a man of Pakistan origin and that by her own analysis, the total being smuggled that night was $10 million US. 5 bags, $2 million each, which means the owner of this money was not a tourist. This was a smuggling operation, moving money out of Zimbabwe illegally in violation of exchange control laws, money laundering laws, banking laws. Zimbabwe at the end of the day doesn't play around when it comes to moving cash. So these people were breaking the law at highest levels. Detectives themselves later admitted their theory. She likely knew or suspected that whoever owned it would most certainly not come back for it or look for it. She had stolen from a ghost and she knew a ghost don't file a police report. Now, what is the first thing you do with $2 million US? Pay off a debt, buy a house, disappear? Rosalind Dunga went to church. Name of the church, Heavenly Fire Ministries, and her offering $400,000 US. If you know your scripture very well, you know that tithe is 10%. 10% of 2 million is $200,000 US. She paid double. Whether it was gratitude, guilt, or spiritual assurance, Rosalind tipped God 100%. And the question is, what did the man of God do with this mysterious donation? Did he ask where it came from? Did he question how a security guard tithed nearly $500,000 in cash? According to prosecutors, he bought a house in Ganyu, one of Harare's most exclusive suburbs. Hold on to your feelings about Pastor Chipisa. He will return at the end of this story in handcuffs, standing right next to Rosalind. Because in the eyes of the law, the question was simple. When the money is dirty, is the tithe clean? Between August and November 2021, roughly 90 days, Rosalind Dunga went on one of the most aggressive spending sprees in Zimbabwean criminal history. And she wasn't reckless about it. She was strategic. She made some money moves. Move number one, a double-story mansion in Borodale West, $580,000, but whose name is on the agreement of sale? Not Rosalind, her sister, Lokadia Chimkos. Move number two, a 19-hectare plot in Sellers, west of Harare, $130,000 US, registered under a 17-year-old nephew. You see what she's doing here, right? Spreading assets across family names so nothing can trace back to her. That is textbook money laundering, and prosecutors would later use that exact word. Move number three, the business. Rosalind did not just want to spend money, she wanted to make money. So she built a trucking company from scratch, a whole logistics fleet, the kind of Gonyet empire that takes businessmen decades to build, assembled in weeks. Move number four, she bought a car, a Mercedes-Benz, $95,000 US, paid once, again in cash, to a Harare car dealer in September 2021. Total spending in 3 months, $1,475,000 US. From a suitcase to an empire, mansions in Borodale and Ganyu, a farm, a fleet of trucks, a blessed pastor. And here's the terrifying part. It was working. No bank flagged her because she never touched a bank. No victim reported her because the victim was a criminal. Rosalind Dunga had officially gotten away with it. There was just one problem. One person had watched this empire rise brick by brick, track by track, and realized that not a single brick had his name on it. Rosalind had a boyfriend. He watched her buy a mansion in her sister's name. He watched her buy a farm in her nephew's name. He watched the pastor get $400,000 US. Everybody was eating, everybody except him. A source inside the National Prosecuting Authority later explained his motive in the coldest possible terms. She was acquiring property in her name and the names of her relatives, and he was being left out of the estate she was building. He went to the police with what he knew, and that's it. That's the whole downfall. Not forensics, not CCTV, not an airport audit. Jealousy. The woman who beat a $2 million smuggling syndicate, beat airport security, and beat the banking system was defeated by a boyfriend who felt left out of the wheel. And there is a lesson in here that every heist movie has been trying to teach us for 50 years. The crime is the easy part. The silence is the hard part. November 2021, the Criminal Investigations Department comes knocking. And under interrogation, by all accounts, Rosalind folded completely. She took the detectives to every mansion, every truck, every little deed, the house in the sister's name, the pastor's blessing, the whole 90-day empire mapped out for detectives by the Empress herself. The state could not prove whose money was it, so they asked a different question. And notice the genius of the state's approach. Prosecutors had a problem. The money's owner had vanished. No victim, nobody on earth is saying that $2 million was mine. So the state flipped the script. They did not have to prove whose money it was. They asked one devastating question. Explain you how a security guard acquired $1.4 million of assets in 90 days. She could not answer. Both accused were granted bail, 20,000 Zimbabwean dollars each, walked out presumed innocent as the law requires. The state wasn't finished with them. By May 2022, prosecutors obtained a high court freeze everything: the Ganyo house, the Borodale mansion, the Sellers farm, the Mercedes, the entire truck fleet, untouchable, locked until the end of the trial. The empire she built in 90 days sealed off in a single court order. For 90 days, Rosalind Lunga lived like a millionaire. And now the question I promised you at the start of the video. Rosalind told the police there were 5 bags that night, $10 million total. She took one, which means 4 bags, $8 million US, boarded that Emirates flight and landed safely in Dubai. So ask yourself, whose $8 million was that? The owner remains a ghost. I hope this video serves as a lesson that crime doesn't pay. At the end of the day, when you do wrong things, you're going to get caught. So if you're watching my videos for the first time, I'm kindly asking if you can subscribe and like the video. Please, we're trying to grow. I'm kindly asking if you can subscribe and like the video.